Today, the theme for me is listening. That's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm always preaching to myself or telling myself what I need to hear. Any topic is always what I need to hear. So today I've been listening, really paying attention and loving New York state of mind. I really felt connected to that song in a new way. This time, because of what Chris said about it, I thought, wow, it's like coming home. The feeling of coming home that we know is inside us and doesn't really have to do with geography. So I really listened to that and love that. And, I've still got a little wet eyes from... There is something about music that opens our hearts every time. We are lucky. And listening to Zach talk, that was hitting my heart and lighting up my face. And Dan and Kathy also about the experience. I didn't go. I was very tired, so I didn't make it that night. I really have a desire to express that the irony of giving a talk about listening is that really if I just said listen and I stopped talking, the thing about listening is you got to stop talking, right? So I get how funny that is. Like I'm talking about listening, and when I'm talking, I'm not listening. So if you carry one message from today, let it be, don't talk so much. and really, I'm talking to myself. Or maybe the message is listen at such a profound level that you know when it's good to speak and when it's good to listen. I have some things I want to read to you. This is from one of my favorite all-time books, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. "You know," said Arthur, "it's at times like this, when I'm trapped in a Vogon airlock with a man from Beetlejuice and about to die of asphyxiation in deep space, that I really wish I'd listened to what my mother told me when I was young." "Well, what did she tell you?" "I don't know. I didn't listen." Here's something from Luke chapter 2. "After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions." Here's something from Jimi Hendrix. "Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens." E.E. Cummings has this to say: "We do not believe in ourselves until someone reveals that deep inside us something is valuable, worth listening to, worthy of our trust, sacred to our touch. Once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delights, or any experience that reveals the human spirit." And this is from A.A. Milne. "If the person you are talking to doesn't appear to be listening, be patient. It may simply be that he has a small piece of fluff in his ear." That, of course, is a quote from Winnie the Pooh. Listening. Here's the scripture that really struck me because it grabbed me. "Like a gold ring or an ornament of gold is a wise rebuke to a listening ear." That's from Proverbs, the New Revised Standard Version. So often when I get a piece of scripture and I don't understand it, I turn to the internet. And this time when I turned to the internet, I found a page. One of the pages I landed on, instead of the exegesis, which is the explanation of it, I happened upon a page that had about 20 different Bible versions of the same quote. And that was interesting to me, because when I looked at this quote, I thought, well, what does that mean? You might not already know. Here's another version. This is the New International Version. Like an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold is the rebuke of a wise judge to a listening ear. New Living Translation. To one who listens, valid criticism is like a gold earring or other gold jewelry. Well, when I hit that one, I thought, oh, the light began to dawn. That's what this quote is about. The English Standard Version. Like a gold ring or an ornament of gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. New American Standard Bible. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover to a listening ear. And the King James Bible, which many people are very familiar with. As an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover upon an obedient ear. Now, it occurred to me that this is all about appreciating feedback. And I, myself, have had a long struggle with being able to listen and to appreciate feedback. It sometimes felt painful to me to have somebody tell me, to give me some feedback. You can ask the board how I've gotten better and better every year. Well, at least that's my story about listening to feedback. And spiritually, there's the whole question of being able to listen to feedback and, all about self-worth. But then there's the bigger picture of listening to feedback. Spiritually, being present in the world is about feedback. Okay? Wanted to land on this. So, like a gold ring, so it's really great, is feedback when we have a listening ear. A listening ear would be an open ear, an open heart. The way that when we are actually present in the moment, listening, it's a completely different experience when we're open to feedback or open to the moment. And when you're open to the moment, there's not even that delay. It's not like I do this, something happens. When we're in the moment, the feedback is, it's like a mystical experience, because when you're in the moment, the knowingness and the feedback, it's all at once. It's like, well, let me do this and see what happens. It's like you're connected to spirit, and there's a knowingness, so you are, as it were, walking through life, walking through your day, your moment, with a knowingness that everything is perfect, that you're perfect, the environment is perfect. Everything is unfolding as it should be. With that, you've gone beyond the pause, the feedback, and the knowingness. The moment is one. And really, the only way I can describe that is mystical. Now, I have a little tiny bit about listening, specifically. This was my humor of the day. If a tree falls in a forest, that's a whole lot of things you can think about listening. And I don't know if you can see that. When I look from here, I can't see it very well. I have a copy of this on that red table if you want it. It's a listening awareness, which I'm going to talk about. I've talked about it before. This is a little bit of kinds of listening. Level 1 is downloading, level 2 is factual, level 3 is empathic, and level 4 is generative. And just to illustrate it, here's a robot looking in a mirror. So when you're downloading, you're not listening, you're just listening for what you want to hear. So what you see or what you hear is going to be what's already in your head. You're just going to see a mirror. Okay, that's downloading. I know that I and you spend way more time than perhaps we ought to listening in that way. Going about the world. And it means that if you're listening, downloading, that you can't see what's there, all you can see is the mirror. Factual. Well, that's a good next step. I showed somebody a picture of a scientist doing an experiment, even though they're, the listening, the attitude would be, well, let's see what happens. So there's an openness, and you're seeing what's happening. Empathic. That would be listening and connecting. That would be walking in the other person's moccasins. If you can listen, and while you're listening, you're connecting to them as much as really, truly understanding their experience. And then the fourth listening, which I get really excited about, because I really just learned about it specifically this past year, generative listening. Well, that's a bunch of people at a town meeting. They're sitting around at tables and they're creating something new, because they're listening with all of those, they're listening with the level of 2 and the level of 3. They're empathic, they're walking in each other's moccasins, they're looking at the facts, they're looking without the mirror in front of them, they're actually looking at what is, and then they're creating something new. Creating something new. That's what we strive for when we get together with our meetings, what we have once a month. We strive for that. What I want to leave you with is the joy of listening, the time when everybody has this time when you listened to something that you've heard before, but you listened with an open mind and an open heart, and something new happened. Just the way I listened to A New York State of Mind today. And whatever they're going to play next, we can listen to that. So practice. In future Sundays, we're going to talk more about how we practice listening together. I'm not even going to give the commercial about why it's so important that we all learn to listen this way right now. It's our jobs. And let's take an offering for unity, and we can practice some listening. I invite you to take your offering. If you have